Hello and welcome to Elecspo. Right, we've got a really simple but really fun experiment today. I have turned the English Football League upside down. Well, someone else did. I downloaded this database. I'll put the link down in the description below. But what has happened, the teams from the National League are now in the Premier League and the teams from the Premier League are now in the National League. Every team in the English Football League has done a complete 180. Everyone's been muddled upside down and we're going to see what it means for English football. We're going to have 6 years. That will have given the teams in the non-league the chance to make it back to the Premier League. But will they be able to do it? Will teams reclimb the ladder, or will the teams that are now in the Premier League, the non-league teams, will the money that's going to be invested into them, will it allow them to now thrive at the top of the English football ladder? Let's dive into the simulation and let's see what happens. Right, here we are at the start of the simulation, the 5th of July 2021. Here is your English Premier League, and there is no Man City, there is no Liverpool, there isn't even a Watford. Instead, we have got Harrogate, we've got Kings Lynn, we've got Torquay, we've got Solihull Moors, and we've also got Barrow. A totally new crop of Premier League teams, and as you go down the English Football League you can see how different it is. In the Championship we've got Oldham, we've got Dagenham and Redbridge. League 1 there's some of the teams that are already in League 1 because there's obviously got to be a natural meeting point, the likes of Doncaster, the likes of Wigan. In League 2 you've got the Championship sides, Huddersfield, Coventry, Blackburn, Fulham. In League 2 you've got the Championship sides, you've got Derby, you've got Cardiff, you've got Blackburn, you've got QPR and all the boys. And into non-league we go, the Vanarama National League. There are your 20 Premier League clubs, joined by West Brom, Fulham and Sheffield United. It is also different in the English Football League. The Vanarama National League has got the likes of Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, Man United. Some of the biggest teams in world football are now playing in the 90th most reputable league in the world. Some of them will still be in the Champions League, the likes of Man City obviously still in the Champions League from the season before that qualification. What difference is that going to make? They're going to have a lot of fixtures coming their way. What's going to happen to the big names, the big players? Will they still want to be playing in the lower leagues, or are they going to join a foreign team, or maybe go to Sutton United? Who knows? Let's go 2 years into the future. We'll do it at 2-year intervals. Let's go to 2023 and see what's happening in 2 years into the future. Right, here we are 2 years into the future, and the Premier League champions are Forest Green Rovers, 72 points, finishing 1 point ahead of Stockport. They are joining Forest Green in the Champions League, and the Champions League is going to be Forest Green, Stockport, Barrow and Harrogate. What a tight season it's been. Only 7 points separating 1st and 7th. It's been massively exciting in the Premier League. And who won it the season prior? It was Sutton. Sutton were the first non-league team to win the Premier League. But let's go down the divisions and see what is going on. Well, first things first, the best player in the Premier League, it's only bloody Nat Phillips. He has joined Mansfield for £56,000, leaving Liverpool, and somehow the best player in one of the best leagues in world football. I mean, it's probably not the best league now, despite the reputation saying so. But let's go to the Championship. And it's Colchester going up to the Premier League. Ipswich are also going up to the Premier League, a team with Premier League experience. They've benefited from this and they're going up as champions. Some of the non-league teams are tumbling down the divisions. You can see there Weymouth and Dover started in the Premier League. They are now going down to League 1. Into League 1 we go though, and Bournemouth are on the up. It's been an elite crop in the 3rd tier. Cardiff, Blackburn and Bournemouth getting 297 points between them. That is absolutely exceptional. Then you've got Dagenham and Redbridge who are going down to League 2. Speaking of League 2, and we have finally got some real Premier League clubs, and that is where Liverpool and Manchester City are, and they are well and truly on the march. Liverpool and Man City have done back-to-back promotions. They are on their way to League 1 and they are absolutely dominating. Liverpool got 127 points in League 2, Man City 125. The only teams that beat Liverpool and Man City were each other. Both teams only lost 1 game each all season, and it was against each other. Mo Salah, the best player in the division, with a 7.92, the Golden Boot winner, there was 25 goals. De Bruyne has been great, Edison's been great, Mane. I mean, these guys have just been absolutely elite. And then you've got Tranmere, who are going down to non-league football. But let's go to non-league, let's go to the National League. And coming up this season, it is Chelsea and it is Manchester United. Arsenal missing out on the title by a point and beating in extra time of the playoff final. Obviously some teams have already been dumped out of the National League, going into the National League North and South. You can see there Everton have been docked 10 points because they've gone into administration. Obviously these teams have still got massive wage budgets, but you know, they're not getting the revenue to actually pay for it. Tottenham there, mid-table in non-league. Leicester doing really poor. Let's go to the National League North. That's been won by Norwich. West Brom went down as well. We're at the National League South. No mention of any Premier League teams there. So it looks like they've just gone into the North, which is strange because Norwich is very south, isn't it? But Chelsea are on the up. They're going to League 2 and they are following Manchester City and Liverpool up the Football League. I'm going to have a little look at the Champions League. I want to see how the non-league boys got on. I'm going to assume not very well. We had 4 minnows in the Champions League. Aldershot were there in a group with Ajax, Club Brugge and Shakhtar. Then Barrow with Juventus, Sporting and Sevilla. On the other side, we had Sutton, who got an incredible win against Rosenborg on their Champions League debut. And defeats returned for Harrogate, beaten by Zenit. And in a group alongside Lazio and Atletico Madrid. And I'm going to assume none of them made it to the knockout rounds because that would just be, that would be frightening if they did that. No, we're looking at the knockout rounds here. No English teams in sight, which is, it's fair enough, these are non-league teams. But after 2 years we have had Forest Green and Sutton United win the Premier League. As for Liverpool and Manchester City, they are on their way up, coming to the Premier League. They're not there yet, but they're very much on their way. They've done back-to-back promotions and I'm going to back them to do the same when we go 2 more years into the future. Right, here we are 2 more years into the future. The Premier League no longer the top division in the world. That is now the Spanish top flight. Premier League down to second, but Ipswich Town are your Premier League champions. And finally, we've got some teams with a bit of Premier League experience. Ipswich, Bournemouth and Blackburn in the top flight and all finishing in the top 4. Forest Green though doing well. They've came second with 73 points. And a quick look at their transfers shows they're starting to splash the cash. In the most recent season, £79 million spent. Some relatively sizable names coming to Forest Green with respect that it is Forest Green. You've got Alexis McAllister there, Mason Holgate, Kevin Kelleher, Nelson Semedo, Axel Tuanzebe. But the big dogs of the Premier League are Ipswich Town, winning it with 83 points, managed by Antonio Conte. That's quite astounding. They're spending big money as well. Ivan Toney's there. In the season prior, they signed Jamie Vardy on a free. They got Romain Saiss, Moussa Djenepo, which is interesting, Eberechi Eze. And compared to the other teams, Ipswich are doing brilliantly in the Premier League. They've won it at a canter by 10 points. Did they win it in their first season back? Yes, they did. It is back-to-back Premier League titles for Ipswich Town. No wonder they've got Antonio Conte calling the shots. How did they get on in the Champions League? They didn't make it through the group and they didn't stay in Europe. But that's fine. That doesn't matter. Let's have a little look at the FA Cup. Let's see who's the winner of that. Liverpool. Liverpool are the holders. And our past winners, Liverpool, Southampton, Arsenal and Burnley. Every final has been contested by a Premier League OG. None of the new blood thriving in the FA Cup. But let's go down the divisions. Let's go to the Championship, and that is where I expect to see Liverpool and Manchester City. And it certainly is, and they have made it all the way back to the Premier League. They've done it with ease. Liverpool the champions, pipping Man City by a point. Liverpool invincible in the Championship. Man City losing 3 times, twice to Liverpool, once to Rotherham, which is fairly disappointing. But they are the only 2 Premier League teams who have made it back to the Premier League and have got as far as the Championship. Julian Alvarez, one of the top players in the division, 18 goals. Virgil van Dijk there thriving for Liverpool. Martin Odegaard has joined the Reds as well. Have they still got their elite managers? Let's have a little look. Man City, managed by Klopp, which is quite strange. And Liverpool, managed by Simone Inzaghi. What an absolute shock that is. I mean, Christ, look at the ratings. They've been absolutely exceptional. But it looks like big players have left the club. I can't see Mo Salah anywhere. I can't see Sadio Mane either. Two of the biggest players at Liverpool have left as they just return to the Premier League. Is anyone else coming up to the Championship? I'd like to think Chelsea would be. And they certainly are. They have won Sky Bet League 1. And they have also been going to be joined in the Championship by Manchester United and Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough have made it to the Championship, which is promising. Who else is thriving up the Football League? We go to League 2. Arsenal are going up. And so are Everton. Have we got any other Premier League teams in League 2? Nope, doesn't look like it. Where are Tottenham? How have Tottenham not made it out of the conference yet? Let's go to the National League. And they still haven't. They've been beaten in the playoff final. Newcastle going up with their incredible riches. And West Ham going up as well. 106 points. Let's go to Newcastle. They're managed by Gennaro Gattuso. And they haven't been spending too much money. But I mean, a lot of money for a non-league team. But no, Joe Linton's got a Colchester. Lucky Colchester. They've got the best midfielder in the world today. But 4 seasons down, and so many teams are still in the National League, which is fair enough because only 2 teams make it out of the National League. So far we have had Newcastle, West Ham, Arsenal, Everton, Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool and City. Those are the teams who have made it out of the National League. The other 12 sides still floating in non-league obscurity. And it's a league that's somehow getting worse. Now the 95th most reputable league in the world. I don't know how that works. You'd think it was maybe getting better with all the players. Chris Wood's doing well, 20 goals, you can't stop that guy. But it has taken 4 seasons for Liverpool and Manchester City to make it to the Premier League. They're going to be back in it in the next season. And once again, they're going to be vying for the title. Let's go 2 more years into the future. Man City and Liverpool will be back in the top flight. Will Chelsea have joined them? Let's find out. Right, here we are, the 11th of June 2027, 6 years of this simulation, and normality has somewhat resumed. Your Premier League top 4 is Manchester City, Man United, Chelsea and Liverpool. It has taken 6 years for things to get relatively back to normal. But the European coefficient is massively changed. You can see there the reputation it's down to the 4th league. Bundesliga, La Liga and Serie A is ahead of the Premier League. Only 3 teams getting in the Champions League. Liverpool coming 4th and Ipswich in 5th, going into the Europa Conference League. Ipswich still doing very well. I mean, they're finishing above Bournemouth, above Blackburn. But the rest of the clubs, I mean, it's still a lot of the non-league clubs. There's not going to be that much of a change really over 6 years. But Man City with 89 points are your Premier League champions. Who won it the year prior? It was Liverpool. Forest Green still doing well though, getting 3rd, and Ipswich down in 4th. But it took little to no time for normality to resume. After 6 years, well it was after 5 years really, we had one of our fallen Premier League sides once again winning the title in Liverpool. And in 2027 another team's won it in Manchester City. In the Championship, are any more teams making it back up? Well, we've got Arsenal and Everton, they have done it. They are coming back to the Premier League. League 1, Newcastle, they're making up to the Championship, so are West Ham. But again, they look to be the only teams in the 3rd tier. What about League 2? Have Tottenham at least made it there yet? Christ, they haven't. League 2, Southampton, they're going up. And they are the only Premier League team, original Premier League team, in that division and into non-league. And finally, Tottenham have made it out of non-league football. Is Harry Kane still there? Cynically, I kind of hope he is, but he's obviously not because he's not the captain. It took Tottenham Hotspur 6 years to get out of the conference, man. That is embarrassing. Who's the lowest placed team we've got in the National League out of the Premier League originals? Norwich sitting there in 12th place with 60 points. Mid-table obscurity for the Canaries in non-league. But after 6 years, if you were to look at the top of the Premier League, you'd think now it had changed. 4 of the biggest teams in the country in the top 4 of the Premier League. The only difference is they're surrounded by Cambridge, Woking and Chesterfield. But But let me know down in the comments below if you want a part 2 to this experiment. I'm happy to take it further into the future, see what other mad things happens in the Premier League. I'm going to have a little look at the Champions League, because I want to see if we've had any English success in that competition. We'll not get it from looking at Man United, I'll tell you that for now. We'll go to Man City, that's where we're going to get the get a bit of joy. They're managed by Jurgen Klopp still. They've also got Reece James as the captain. Champions League, it's Juventus who've been dominating throughout this experiment. 4 wins out of a possible 6, which is exceptional. We had Liverpool make it to the semi-finals in this most recent season. So within 6 years we've got normality back in the Premier League and an English team getting to the Champions League semi-finals, and one of the teams that was in non-league at the start of this simulation. Really over time nothing has changed. There are no new forces in the Premier League, just a resurgent Ipswich Town who are in the Europa Conference League. But let me know down in the comments below if you want to see a part 2. I think this is a pretty fun experiment. It's been fun to see what's been happening at these teams. It's just a little bit underwhelming that Man City and Liverpool have just got back to where they were at the beginning. But we are going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Elecspo. And until next time, we will see you around.